Hello, hello, welcome in, welcome in. Happy Friday, everybody. Hopefully, y'all are doing well. We're gonna talk a little NFL first look for the weekend here. Some good games this week. So obviously, no bye weeks, so we're back to like an actual full slate of games, and we got some good games this weekend. For both like fantasy betting and then just real life. Bills Patriots is going to be really good. Chargers Chiefs should be pretty good. Ravens Bengals 51.5 total there. Lions Rams in the 4 o'clock window 54.5 total is going to be an absolute movie. Super excited for that one. Honestly, Panthers Saints has become a big real life game with the Bucks losing last night. Packers Broncos, two top seeds in their conferences. And then my Super Bowl Sunday afternoon, assuming we get Phillip Rivers starting, is just going to be an absolute electric factory. So lots of good games coming this weekend. We will give a first look at them all, talk some early look stuff, and then I'll be live Sunday morning. I don't think I'm going on Johnny's stream this week, so it'll be back to the normal schedule this week where I'll be live at 11 a.m. on my channel, and it'll probably be like an hour-long stream if I had to guess. As far as yesterday goes, huge day yesterday. Shout out to Kyle Pitts. Had the anytime touchdown winner, had the 2+ touchdown winner, had like a crazy tweet that went crazy. I still don't understand the internet, and I like anyone that's been around here for a long time that has watched the streams. I mean, like I've given out way crazier picks than that. So I don't really understand why that was the one that caught the algorithm, but I'm not complaining. I just thought it was funny. I've definitely given out better bets and bigger winners than that. I only that wasn't even like a huge win in the grand scheme of things, but hopefully you guys made some money if you tailed along with that. So, and if you guys have questions on anything, go ahead and ask. If we're going to start off here, first game on the unabated lines page here is the Cardinals and the Texans. The Cardinals defense has just completely been bottoming out. They've been terrible. No Marv in this one either for their offense. So we're going to get the same situation. Like the Texans are big favorites here, 9.5, 10 points. It's going to be a lot of garbage time again for Jacoby Brissett, Michael Wilson, Trey McBride. That's just kind of what's going to happen on the Arizona side of things. And then on the Houston side, this is a spot where I think CJ Stroud can play a little bit better than he has been playing. We'll see what goes on with the running backs. I haven't seen a Friday practice report from them, but I know Woody Marks did miss some practice this week. Let me see if I can get an update on him. Because the Arizona run defense has struggled. Yeah, he was back at practice yesterday. I haven't seen... this was 3 hours ago. Nick Chubb was not seen at Friday practice. So I'm going to assume that Nick Chubb did not practice today. And it looks like Woody Marks did. So it's a good spot for Woody Marks. We saw Dario Ogunbowale scored last week against the Chiefs too. I'm assuming he'll be the RB2 there if Nick Chubb can't go after Woody Marks. But this is a spot. Arizona's given up some big games recently to receivers too. If we just look at some of their last games. Let me pull this up. So obviously they just played the Rams last week, and Puka just cooked them 7 for 167-2. There's no shocker there. It's Puka Nacua. But in the game previous to that, they gave up a couple good games. Like Chris Godwin, I think, got loose, which Chris Godwin and Puka are kind of similar to where that's going to be like over the middle of the field more so of where they're beating you. And then the game before that, both Brenton Strange and Parker Washington in that overtime game had pretty good games. Again, Parker Washington, slot receiver over the middle of the field. So that's something we could look to take advantage of on the Texans side of things. Nico is going to be like the big guy that you would want to be focused on there. But man, could we see, I need to check like slot rate and stuff. Could we see a little Christian Kirk revenge game here? I'm wondering. This could be a spot for a Christian Kirk revenge narrative against the Arizona Cardinals. Guru said, I know he has 4 to 5 more games left, but do you think Cousins can start next season? Yeah, I do. I do think he can start next year. He's played pretty well. And to be honest with you, Guru, I think the Falcons, and I might be like semi-biased in that because I had Falcons futures from the preseason. I think the Falcons are the best team in that division. They just have gotten so unlucky in those close games. I mean, look at the kind of where they've been at in terms of, I just realized my cat is in here, so that's good. I'm gonna have to let this cat out of this room. Stand by, chat. Stand by. We're gonna do another countdown. All right, we're back. Anyways, I don't remember what I was talking about. Oh, Kirk Cousins. I think the Falcons are the best team in that division. And if you look at the Falcons' schedule, let me see here. They lost that super close game in Germany to the Colts, which that's the Colts. So what are we going to say there? It was an overtime game. But they lost another overtime game against the Panthers on November 16th. They lost on a last-second field goal to the Jets. They lost, I think it was like pretty, other than the Dolphins game and the Panthers game, they played those 2 weird games in the early season, but they have a lot of close losses where if you flip, the Patriots, they lost by 1 point to the Patriots after they were handily winning that game too. So if you kind of flip just 2 of those games, they would be back in the division race. Like, I think the Falcons are the best team in that division, but it's just not going to work out in their favor, given how they've, lost a bunch of close games. But I do think Kirk Cousins can start next season. Now, I don't know if that will necessarily be for the Falcons because I still feel like they'll be pressured to go with Penix, assuming he's like healthy and ready to go. But ultimately, I would love to see Kirk Cousins run it back and go back to the Vikings for one season. That would just be so fun. But yeah, he's played good. Like, from where Kirk Cousins was in that game against the Dolphins to where he is now, like, he's played much better. Like, he can still run an NFL offense. And Steve and I talked about on the stream yesterday, these older quarterbacks that have an advantage right now over some of these young guys that just haven't developed. Kirk Cousins fits right into that mold. I want to see the Panthers in the playoffs as well. And yeah, I don't know if we talked about that on stream or if I was just talking off stream about it, but I don't know what Tampa's going to do with Baker, honestly. It's kind of the same story as it always is with him this year. Like, he plays well for stretches, but then, just can't put it together. He's played pretty bad for the majority of the season. Like, the first month, he was really good, and then he's been bad other than that. So do you really want to go give him $50 million a year when his contract's up? I don't know. Because you kind of, if you do that, it's the same situation that the Browns were in. And it's why I never faulted the Browns for moving on from him, because they were in a spot where they didn't want to give him $50 million a year. And they obviously made the wrong decision post him with the Deshaun Watson trade. But I can't fault them for trying to move on for Baker, because I think he's good, but I don't know if he's good enough to like get you over the hump. And you don't really want to get in a position where you're spending a lot of money on that when you can try and take your chances. Again, the Browns went about it completely wrong doing the Watson trade. You're better off just firing on these rookie quarterbacks until you hit on one and you have one on a cheap deal. So I don't know. Like, if I'm the Bucks, I don't know. I think he would have to take like a hefty discount. If I'm the Bucks, Baker would have to take a discount if I'm going to keep him on the team, because I don't see how you can give him like Trevor Lawrence, like whatever Trevor Lawrence is making is probably like the threshold. And I don't know if I'd want to pay Baker that. I don't even want to pay Trevor Lawrence that. Like, the Jaguars are going through this exact same thing where they paid him and like, he's good, but is he good enough to go out and like get you over the hump? I don't know. I don't think so. So yeah, Tampa's in a really weird spot right now. I definitely want to see the Panthers in the playoffs, though. But continuing on with that game, same old for the last few weeks for the Cardinals on the Texans side. I'm gonna look at some stuff potentially like a long shot on Christian Kirk props could be in the mix, but yeah, that's kind of my thoughts there. Stroud definitely going to be a DFS consideration with just how bad the Cardinals defense has played. Browns and Bears. This game stinks. 7.5 line in favor of the Bears. The total is, I think, the lowest on the board here, 38.5. I'm seeing. It's going to be really cold. Actually, Raiders Eagles is 38.5, and Browns Bears is 38.5. So those are the two lowest totals. It's going to be really cold in Chicago. The Browns are down a lot of their offensive linemen. I think 4 of 5 starters to begin the year out for this game, which is just not good. No David Njoku as well. What are we going to get from them in this weather? I don't know. Obviously, I think Fannin can have a good game. He clearly has a nice little rapport with Sanders and no Njoku, but this game is weird. On the Bears side of things, it's still probably Luther Burden for me if I'm interested in anybody. And I actually think for as good as the Browns defense is, I think they can be had a little bit the rest of the way because the Browns, given that they stink, are really all in on getting this record for Myles Garrett. So he's, I think, 3 off of the sack record with 4 games or whatever left. They're just all in on getting Myles Garrett this sack record. So what that's doing is they're focusing so much on trying to get him a sack, they're giving up some big plays. And we saw that just immediately. The Browns defense is one of the best in the NFL, especially on their home field. Immediately last week, the Titans went right down the field on them and scored. So I think the Browns on the back end, especially with how they man guys up, they are one of the few teams that play pretty heavy man coverage on the back end in the secondary. And I trust Luther Burden to get open. I trust Odunze to get open too if he plays. So I think you could certainly talk me into some Burden stuff. I know we've been on him the last few weeks and we've been hitting props with him. I don't know what his line is currently. Let me see. Let's see. I don't even see receiving props for the Bears right now because I think we're waiting on that Odunze news. Thoughts on Monangai or Swift in this weather? I mean, theoretically, the cold weather should be good for the running backs. I think I'd rather attack the Browns through the air right now than on the ground. But yeah, I mean, I think Monangai is better than Swift. That's kind of where I was preseason. They've both played well. But I would probably lean Monangai if I was choosing one of them. I just think he's better, personally. Yeah, I think Myles Garrett has Depoy locked up, especially if he does. He doesn't even need to average a sack a game the rest of the way to break the record. I do think he has that locked up. Man, no, Lane Johnson's out. I thought there was a chance he'd come back for the Eagles, which would have been really big for them, but it's probably just more pain coming the Eagles' way this weekend, it sounds like. And then Jalen Carter is obviously out again as well, which I'm going to talk about that when we get to that game. But I do think this could be a potential Ashton Genty spot. I can't believe the Eagles are getting ran on like they have been the last few weeks, but yeah. All right, next game, Ravens-Bengals. This is going to be a really, really fun one. Rematch of the Thanksgiving game, which I don't even want to think about because if you guys remember, Isaiah Likely, man, cost us $1,000. We had him for the touchdown parlay. We had him to score on his own, fumble out of the back of the end zone. Quite literally a $1,000 fumble. Unfortunate. But yeah, I think this is going to be a good game for fantasy purposes. It's a 2.5-point spread. The Bengals are at home here, still slightly alive in the playoff picture. I really don't think they are, but mathematically, they still have a chance. I think we can take some stuff from their last game and then pivot in the right directions. Because if you guys remember back to that game, the Ravens had all those turnovers. They had 5 turnovers for the game, but some fluky ones, right? Out of the back of the end zone when they're going to score. They had the tuck rule fumble with when Lamar threw the ball. And the Bengals ran over 80 plays in that game. That's just not sustainable again. I don't see the Bengals running 80 plays again in this one. So I think where I would be at in this game, there's two sides of this. Obviously, we know we can target the Bengals with tight ends. They're essentially the worst tight end defense of the last 15 years. They're absolutely terrible. So they faced the most tight end targets in the NFL by 16. They're at 137. They've allowed the most tight end receptions in the league by 9. They've allowed the most yards by over 300. And they've allowed the most touchdowns by 6. 15 touchdowns allowed to tight ends is insane. And I talked about this on Johnny's stream last Sunday. The one game against the Steelers, they gave up three touchdowns to tight ends in one game against the Steelers, and it was 3 different tight ends. So they're just bad all around against tight ends, which means we're back in on Isaiah Likely again. I don't know if I can stomach it after that $1,000 fumble, but I think that's the matchup we want to exploit here. I do not think it's Zay Flowers. I think it's the tight ends again. So we have Isaiah Likely and Andrews both. Likely's at 38.5 prop. Andrews at 39.5. I think we could alt up Likely again. That's definitely going to be on my radar potentially for my favorite plays on this slate. I like Likely stuff again. I like him to score. Let me see. He's plus 220 anytime. He's 13-1 first. Probably going to be on that. 2+ is 20-1. I like it. I think you could also do a little same gamer with just Andrews and Likely both to score. That's 7-1. I got to think about it, but I definitely like Likely again. Dewan, what's up? Hopefully you're doing well. So that's kind of my angle there. And then I think it'll be a big point in this one. Every single person has talked about how they did not use Derrick Henry against a really bad run defense in a game that they lost. There's potential snow coming in this game as well. Let me check the weather. So I think they could make a point to give the ball to Derrick Henry. I don't see much snow now that I look at it, so I don't know. But I'm blessed too, Dewan. I am. So, yeah, I like Henry stuff, and I like Likely again. Those are kind of my main looks there. One of my biggest prop plays last weekend was Samaje Perine over 4.5 receiving yards. Cashed on the first drive of the game for the Bengals. I don't even see FanDuel with a line for him right now. Let me check around. Let's see if Bet365 has it. Or I guess just anywhere. Let me see. Oh, I have a 2-piece parlay for you guys for tomorrow too. Don't let me forget to give that out. All right, Bengals. Let's look at receiving yards. Yeah, he's at 4.5 again. 4.5 yards on Bet365. I think we hammer this again. It's probably going to be a 2-unit play for me. He has cut into Chase Brown's receiving role. That is certain. Now, Chase Brown's receiving stats the last few games look good because Joe Burrow's just been checking the ball down. So, his overall receiving stats have been good. If you look at 2 games ago in this exact game against the Ravens, he caught 7 balls for 35 yards. Last week, 3 for 12. That game against the Ravens looks really good on paper, 7 catches. But again, keep in mind, that's also in a game where they ran over 80 plays, and they're probably going to run 60 in this one. So would he be at 7 receptions in a game if you take 25 plays away? Probably not. So I think you could take that Chase Brown receiving stuff with a grain of salt. Samaje Perine's been running routes. He's been on the field. Like I said, he went over that receiving 4.5 last week on the first drive of the game. And the Ravens are, even though this game's in Cincy, the Ravens are favored in this game. So hopefully the Ravens come out good, and then we get some maybe like trailing game script for the Bengals, but I like Samaje Perine over 4.5 receiving yards. Again, that's probably going to be a top play for me again this weekend. He's gone over that in, I think, every game since he's come back from injury. Let me see. Yeah. Or no, he the first game back against the Bears, he didn't catch a pass. But then his last two at the Ravens on Thanksgiving, he went 2 for 15. And then last week he only caught one, but it was for 7 yards. If he catches a pass, he's going to go over 4.5 yards, I think. So yeah, I like the over 4.5 again. I'd have to check like projection stuff and see where he's at there, but I would assume he projects for over, to be honest with you. So that's definitely on my radar in this game, on top of the likely and Henry stuff. Chargers, Chiefs. Chiefs obviously need to win if they have won any hope. They still have a potential to get in the playoffs. They need the Chargers to lose kind of moving forward. But yeah, they need to win. I do think they'll beat the Chargers in this game. And then, like, they need the Chargers to lose moving forward the remainder of their games. The Chargers have a tough schedule. So there is potential for the Chiefs to make this interesting come like week 18. But overall, I think the Chiefs win this one. I don't really have anything from a prop angle here, though. Maybe you get a bounce back game from Kelsey, but he just looked so dusty last week, man. He looked so bad. You're probably not even getting good value on it, to be honest. Yeah, like he's plus 220 to score. I'd want like 3-1, given how he looked last week. I did hit on what was that? Was that Sunday night or Monday night? I think that was Monday night the Chargers played. Yeah, the Eagles. Yeah, Chargers O-line is terrible. It's so bad. I feel bad for Justin Herbert. This is just so bad. I don't know. Like, so basically on Monday night, I hit Oronde Gadsden under 4.5 receptions, I think, which I thought was an insane line to have him at 4.5, given what he's been doing, because they've had to pull him off the field in certain instances because of how bad their offensive line is. Like, they can't afford to have a tight end out there that's like strictly a receiving threat. Like, they need extra help. They've been bringing that fullback in to help block. So if you look at his recent games, he hasn't caught more than 5 passes since November 2nd. 11-9 against Pittsburgh 3, 11-16 against Jacksonville 2, and then 1-1 in his last 2 games. I think we could go back to the Gadsden unders here. Let me see what his prop is at. His receiving line, I mean, it's 10 to 15 yards lower than what it was last week. I think he was still in the 40s last week. It's at 33.5 right now on FanDuel. Total receptions, he's at 3.5, but it's minus 160 to the under. Wow, yeah. People have definitely caught on here. I like that as like a parlay piece, but at minus 160, that's a little too juicy for me. And I would be nervous taking the yards just because he is like a big play guy. So there's a situation where he only catches 1 pass, but like goes over that yardage. So I got to think about that one, but I do like the Gadsden under receptions potentially as a prop parlay piece. The Chiefs are eliminated if they lose, I think, yes. And if they're not, they would go down to like a 1% chance, which is they're basically eliminated. Like, they already have a very slim chance of getting in. They have to win this game. And yes, Guru, to your point, KC is very banged up on the offensive line as well, which has been an issue for them. Anytime Mahomes has struggled in his career, it's been when the offensive line is in shambles. Like when they got blown out by the Bucs in the Super Bowl to Tom Brady, their offensive line was terrible. Their offensive line was terrible at the end of last season. And they hit on some of their draft picks like Josh Emmons, but these guys are just out. So, they were out 4 linemen last week because the one that was filling in got hurt on like the first play of the game too. All right, Jets and Jags. Don't really have anything here. Good spot for Travis Etienne, I think, and Bashal Tutin. Like, Tutin kind of got iced last week after he fumbled, but the Jets' run defense has really, really fallen off in recent weeks. I'm seeing Etienne's prop at 74.5, which is like high for sure. But I could see him going for 100 in this game. Brady Cook starting for the Jets. There could be some short fields. The Jags defense is good. Honestly, it's the best part of their team, I think. Trying to see what Tootin's odds to score are, though. Let's see. Plus 350. That's tough. I know he was bad after the fumble. He got benched last week, but I'm wondering if that's just like a one-game thing. Like, I still feel like he'll be involved. If we look at red zone rushing on the Jags specifically, attempts inside the 10. I mean, he's got, what is that, like 9? I'm trying to add this up. He has like 9 attempts inside the 10 right now. ETN obviously way more, but I feel like they've gone to him recently. Should I drop Chiefs defense? I have Eagles defense. Pick up Mark Andrews. Justin. Who is your tight end right now, Justin? Like, are you saying like you're gonna pick him up just to like spite this guy that has likely, or do you need Mark Andrews to fill in for your tight end? Because I actually, you have Kelsey. Is it PPR, Justin? Let me check my projections. If it's full PPR, I think I'd stick with Kelsey. Full PPR, yeah. I'd just stick with Kelsey, Justin, and the reason is Mark Andrews could 100% score against the Bengals. Like, I just went over how bad the Bengals are against tight ends. Like, he could score, but Mark Andrews really is going to get you nothing unless he scores a touchdown. Like, I don't think there's any potential for him to get you 8 even points if he doesn't fall into the end zone. Whereas even though Kelsey was completely shit last week, they have no other options than to throw to him and like Rashee Rice. So, Kelsey could catch some passes and get yards and outscore Andrews, like even if Andrews scores. So I think your floor is safer and the ceiling is better, honestly, with Kelsey, even though he just looked terrible last week. But I would just go Kelsey. And I actually like Chiefs defense this week, just with how bad. Like, the Chiefs defense at home has been so good. Like, they completely were shutting down the Texans last week. The Chargers offensive line is bad enough where, I think Chris Jones and the Chiefs defense could have another good game. So, the Eagles defense has really fallen off without Jalen Carter. And then I guess we can just segue to that game. Yeah, Hollywood's out too, Taz. Like, just another option, less for Mahomes. I like the Jags running back stuff in the Jets game. That's probably it. I don't know. I don't even want to get excited about Adonai with like Brady Cook at quarterback. So in the Raiders-Eagles game, though, I think this could be a spot maybe where we look at Genty. I'm hoping he doesn't get too popular in the DFS streets because he's been bad. But I just went over how bad this run defense has been with no Jalen Carter. They were bad in week 1 against Dallas when he was out for the whole game. They were bad 2 weeks ago, and that was like with him playing against the Bears, and they were bad on Monday night against the Chargers. And now it's like a short week for them. I know the Raiders have to travel cross country, and I know Ashton Genty hasn't done anything all season, and they're 11.5-point underdogs. But, dude, Geno Smith has been terrible this year. Like, there's potential where Kenny Pickett can just functionalize this offense better than Geno Smith is. And we've seen the receiving floor from Ashton Genty as well in recent weeks. So I think, like, the floor on him is pretty good. His receiving line's at 20.5. I know like the targets have been really good for him, but in terms of just like raw receiving yardage totals, he's at 8, 30, 58, 20. So he's gone over in 3 of his last 4. You could talk me into it. I agree. Full on Vegas SGP for this one. Bowers receiving or yards, Ashton receiving yards, and Vegas points. I agree, man. I got the Eagles sweatshirt on right now, but they've just been terrible. I don't know. Like, It's literally in your name, Fire Patullo. They're just completely dead with this guy calling plays, and I don't know where they're at from like a morale perspective right now. I don't think they'll lose this game, but it wouldn't shock me if the Raiders are in this game. Like it just wouldn't shock me. So I definitely like the Genty side of things. Receiving yards at 20.5 looks good. His rushing yards at 53.5. Honestly, that's like a little bit higher than I expected. I thought he'd be like upper 40s, but you could talk me into that. Plus 150 for a touchdown, I like. 11-1 for 2, I like. I like Genty in this game. I do. Commanders Giants. I like Chris Rodriguez for DFS. He's really cheap, 4,900 on DraftKings. I'm definitely interested in him. I think Jackson Dart's going to be popular. Potentially like cash game options. We'll talk about that more on Sunday. But yeah, you can look at some of the Giants receivers. Slayton, I like to play quite a bit. And I like C-Rod, but that's about it. Assuming Chris Rodriguez plays also, I know he is questionable, but I think he should be fine. He's plus 135 to score. I mean, I like that. I like that a little bit. He might be like parlay potential. I don't know if I'll play him straight. Bills Patriots is going to be a fun one. I just don't know. Like, is Stephon Diggs' revenge satisfied after that huge game he had against the Bills when they played earlier in the season, or like does he want more? I don't know. There's potential for Joey Bosa to be out for this game again. Oh no, he's playing, I think. Okay, that's huge. Yeah, Bills are he's back playing. That is massive for the Bills. I talked about that on Johnny's stream last week, how bad the Bills defense is, especially pass rush when you take Bosa off the field. So that's huge to get him back. I just don't know. Like it's like shooting fish in a barrel to try and pick one of these Patriots like receivers. Like they just spread it around too much. You never know where the ball is going to go. Is it going to be Douglas, Kayshon Boutte, Stephon Diggs? Like Kyle Williams gets in the mix sometimes. They have Hunter Henry. If I was going to take a deep shot on someone, it would probably be Kyle Williams and just hope for that long touchdown. They have like Mac Hollins in there too. Like it's just like too random. I mean, there's not even receiving props available for Kyle Williams though. For touchdown, he's plus 950. I don't hate it. He's not going to run a lot of routes though. Like if he gets like one target, like you're going to have to score on like a long one. But I don't know. We'll think about it. On the Bills side, it's kind of the same thing. Like you have Shakir, Gabe Davis led them in routes last week, but he doesn't get targeted. You have like Kincaid back. Like there's just a lot going on there. I actually think without Milton Williams, you can run on them. So I think this could be a James Cook spot. His props at 80.5. Touchdowns at minus 120. He definitely has touchdown potential for me for like a parlay. Green Bay, Denver. I like RJ Harvey stuff here. Green Bay has been worse on the road defensively than they have been at home. And I've brought this up on stream multiple times. When the Packers play bad, it's because they're getting ran on. So I do think RJ Harvey has some viability here, both DFS and like maybe prop stuff. But I also think Jordan Love's just playing exceptional football. We've seen we've seen the Broncos get into some of these like random shootouts this season. And the Broncos are one of the few teams like Cleveland that play pretty man heavy on the back end. All of the Packers receivers cook man coverage. Christian Watson, Dontavian Wicks, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, all those guys have positive splits against man coverage. So I think this could be another big game for Jordan Love. I'll probably be invested in him from a DFS side of things because I don't think he's going to be high owned again. His passing props at 223.5. I like the over there. I think he could go, I don't know, what's his season high? Let me see. So he had 234 last week, 234 the week before, 273 against Carolina, 360 against Pittsburgh, and 337. So this kind of correlates hand in hand with the defense performing worse on the road than at home. But his two biggest games this season, 360 and 337, both came on the road in like games that were shootouts. Pittsburgh a win 35-25, Dallas a 40-40 tie in overtime. So I like Love over passing yards this week, I think. That's definitely on my radar. If I was going to pick a receiver, we've been riding Christian Watson pretty heavy. He's been their best guy. But I don't know. It's tough. All these guys are good against man coverage, man. I don't know. You could pivot back to Dobbs maybe here. I mean, Jaden Reed back in the mix. I don't have a definitive answer on that right now, but I mean, Christian Watson's been like the safest guy. Rams, Lions, I think Stafford's going to absolutely cook here. I said this on Johnny's stream last week. They're trying to get Stafford the MVP. I think that's certain. The Lions are absolutely terrible in the secondary. They're absolutely terrible right now. The last 3 or 4 weeks, they've been getting cooked through the air. So I think this is just a smash Stafford spot. Puka, Devontae, Colby Parkinson, if you want to throw him in there. Like, this is just a smash spot for the Rams offense. On the flip side, should be getting trailing game script for the Lions. So could we see another big game from Jahmyr Gibbs receiving? Yes. Jamison Williams on turf is always good. St. Brown, 54.5 total is juicy. So I'm really excited for this game. Great game for DFS, but I think the Rams side of it is how I'd want to look to play it. Stafford should just cook here. This Lions secondary is a disgrace. And then last 2 games on the main slate, Panthers, Saints. I don't have much here other than I'm rooting for the Panthers in this one so they can make the playoff. Tyler Shugg, we hit his anytime touchdown last week, plus 850. He's been running a lot. He has like 6 or more carries in each of his last 3 games. So you can do with that what you will. Don't really know what to do on the Panthers side of things right now, especially with how they've been splitting the running backs. And then Colts, Seahawks. I hope that the Colts come out throwing the ball with Phillip Rivers. I think that'd just be so fun. Literally my favorite quarterback ever. I'm super excited to watch that game. I saw his props around 150. I don't know if I can take that, but I think you could play it both ways. I think you could bet on Seattle to score a defensive touchdown, and if he's just cooked, they could get a pick 6 or a fumble 6 or something. Or you could play it, him to go over 150.5, and he plays a good game. So Seattle right now, defensive touchdowns, 6-1. And I think that's come down. I think they were like 850 or 9-1 when I looked earlier in the week. To score 2, they're 65-1. That's definitely come down because they were like 100-1 when I looked at that. So Seattle defense might be a move there, or the Rivers stuff, but I'm going to be rooting for Phillip Rivers for sure in that game. Devontae Adams, 2+ TDs. Yeah, it's crazy that that's 3-1, but normally I would come on here and say the touchdown stuff is fluky. In Devontae Adams' case, it's not fluky because he is leading the NFL by a wide margin in end zone targets. If we look at just raw red zone receiving, he is inside the 20, number 1 by 5, 29 targets inside the 20 this season. Next closest is Trey McBride with 24. If you go down to inside the 10-yard line targets, Devontae Adams has 22. The next closest is Rashee Rice at 13. So the touchdown stuff can be fluky, but in his case, when he's getting so many end zone targets, he's getting so many looks inside the 10, that can counteract it. So it is a good spot for him to score once again this week. But overall, that's all the games. Just a quick run through of stuff. I'll be live Sunday morning at 11 a.m. to give out like actual picks. I'll post those picks tomorrow night on Saturday, and then we'll talk about them on Saturday. We'll talk about them on Sunday, and we will run through the NFL slate on Sunday morning as well. For a bet for tomorrow, my favorite bet, I like taking Navy in the Army-Navy game on the money line. Parlay that college basketball, Kentucky at home over Indiana. It's around plus 100, so it's like a double up play. I'll be playing that for a 1 unit. That is a 1 unit, 2-piece parlay. Navy in the Army-Navy college football game. Kentucky over Indiana in the college basketball streets. So that's a 2-piece parlay for you. Boise State wash thoughts. I'd probably lean Washington in that one. I know the lines moved up a little bit. It was hovering, and then it's up to 9.5 now. Yeah, I like Washington. I might play Washington, to be honest with you. Washington might be a play. If I take it, I'll tweet it out tomorrow. But Washington minus 9.5, that might be a play for me tomorrow. I like the Washington side. Overall, thank you guys for all the love on that tweet yesterday. I still can't believe it. 2 million views on a tweet is insane. Thank you guys. I'll be live Sunday morning at 11 a.m. and see everybody then.